Happy lunch hour, gang. All right. Great week for the Republicans, right? We're being played. If anybody hasn't figured this one out yet, okay? The left is fabulous at getting the GOP to do the dirty work for them. And the GOP isn't smart enough to figure it out. And that's what completely pisses me off. You look at the special counsel report that came out this week, and we found that Biden did illegally handle or store classified documents in his garage, but he's just a feeble old man, and he couldn't remember heads of states' names. He couldn't remember when his son died, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He's just a feeble old man, so, we don't recommend that he be prosecuted for this, right? Okay, we all heard this. Then we all heard the GOP come out and pounce on something that's totally stupid. Well, if he's not competent to stand trial, how is he competent to run the country? We have to do one of two things. Either prosecute him, or we have to exercise the 25th Amendment and remove him from office. Right? Heard all that. The logic is there. But you're playing right into the Democrats' hands. What the DNC actually wants to happen. Okay? I've said for well over a year, so have a lot of other people, that Joe won't be on the ballot in November. That come convention time, after Joe's won all the primaries, Joe will stand up there to give his speech and say, you know what? I think it's time for me to step down. And so I want all my delegates to vote for this person. Okay? And the Republicans are playing right into it. The best possible thing that could happen for the GOP is that Biden is on the ballot, because he's low-hanging fruit. The guy is utterly incompetent. He has no mental faculties left whatsoever. Why are they helping the DNC put a candidate that may get more, I'd say votes, but the Democrats really don't care about votes, popularity in the press? Okay. Let Biden run out his next 11 years or 11 months. It's gonna suck, no doubt. We all know 2024 is going to be garbage to live in. But why give him an out? Let him get completely embarrassed. Let him be on the top of the ticket to drag down the rest of the party. Because most Democrats, obviously we can tell by his approval rating, which is the worst in modern history. Okay, he's barely hanging on to 30%. Most Democrats don't want to vote for him. You won't hear that from the media. Okay, the media is still propping him up. Of course, they always will. Okay, but you start to take a look at what the populace thinks. They don't want Joe. So why give them the opportunity so they don't have to do it themselves? The DNC is wringing their hands. They're going, yeah, this is perfect. If they can get Joe out on the 25th Amendment, look what we can do. We'll put Kamala Harris in, because she's the VP, right, to finish out Joe's term, and Joe's legacy can then be, he was instrumental in giving us the first female president, right? Because Kamala Harris would step right into that role. Now, if Kamala Harris runs in 2024, that's going to be just as big of a debacle as Joe Biden running. No big deal again. So I don't expect that to happen. Then what happens is Kamala Harris will not be the one to get the nomination, and they will bring somebody else in. It's no big surprise that Gavin Newsom has been bandied about, running around, debating Ron DeSantis, campaigning. He's not running for anything, but campaigning in other states, kind of under the radar, right? It's no big surprise that Gavin Newsom is being talked about in the media about daily. They're not prepping him for 2028, though right now, he's probably, if they were looking at who's going to be the front runner in 2028, they'd probably run Gavin Newsom. Okay. Now, why do I say Gavin Newsom? Well, like I said, Kamala Harris is completely unelectable. I mean, remember the 2020 election, she never even made it to the primaries. Okay, she dropped out beforehand, so she knows she's not going to be the future. But even if she is president for a few months, she'd still go down in history as the first female president. You have all the talk about Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama has come out and said she has no interest in the job. Okay, she hates politics. She didn't even want Barry Soetoro to be a senator, let alone be president. Okay, she did not like Washington at all. Okay, she likes to be the rabble rouser. She likes to be the community organizer, but she has no inkling whatsoever to be a decision maker. She just wants to cause trouble. So, no, she wouldn't be it. Gavin Newsom is the torchbearer, and that's where we're going. Remember what Joe said in 2020, leading up to the election. I'm going to be a one-term president, right? I mean, that was his statement. He said he was planning on being a one-term president, wanted to be the bridge, as he put it, to a new generation of leaders. Now, Joe is hemorrhaging support in the young vote, the Gen Z, the millennial vote, okay, basically anybody under 40. So what makes the most sense for the DNC? To bring in a young guy. Remember the party line of the DNC going back all the way to Hillary Clinton's nomination. Why is politics all a bunch of old white men, right? That was the reasoning behind bringing Hillary Clinton in. Right? We got to bring in an old white woman instead. Okay, we've seen all the push in the last 8 years now for female candidates, for minority candidates, etc., etc. And then, of course, after bitching that the GOP was the party of old white men, the Democrats in 2020 ran the oldest candidate in the history of the United States, okay, who happened to be a white man. So they want to get away from that. They want to turn this into a race of, we're moving the generations. We want to get rid of the septuagenarian and bring in in Trump, okay, 70, almost 80 years old himself, okay, and bring in somebody who's in their 40s and 50s and go that way. What's going to happen is at the convention, Joe will get the nomination. It's not like Joe wants it, okay? I mean, please tell me how many campaign rallies Joe Biden's done. Now, maybe a couple in Pennsylvania, where he can get in the car, drive from the home in Delaware and go back, okay? But was Joe out campaigning hard in South Carolina, in New Hampshire, in Iowa? No, he's just on autopilot, just like he was in 2020, campaign from the basement. The DNC doesn't care who their puppet is. I mean, even if you watched Tucker Carlson's interview with Vladimir Putin the other day, Putin said right out, Joe's not running the country. We all know that, okay? It's a group of people in the background. It's Barack Obama, it's Susan Rice, it's Merrick Garland, it's the CIA. They're the ones that are just telling Joe what to say. Okay, Joe's a puppet, no question. Who's the DNC going to put in as their next puppet? Well, Gavin Newsom toes the corporate line. He's perfect for the I'll tell you one thing and do something else. Look at the whole thing with the COVID lockdowns, and Gavin Newsom, You can't go out anywhere. You can't go out anywhere. And yet then he's going out to fancy dinners. Okay. Right. So we get all that. But look at what they're trying to do. I mean, they've stomped on Marianne Williamson. Not that she's a serious candidate, but they don't even give her the time of day. Cornel West, they not really a serious candidate. They don't really give him the time of day. But then you look at Robert F. Kennedy, okay? And RFK is a serious candidate. He is a serious threat to Joe Biden. But he doesn't toe the DNC line. He doesn't believe in everything that they want. Granted, he's got a lot of the same ideas, the green energy crap and all this sort of stuff, but he's not completely on board with them. He'd be a little bit rogue. So they did everything they could to keep him off the ballot. So Kennedy decided to run as an independent. Okay. Now, mind you, what did they start doing? Well, the DNC's like, well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to start canceling primaries because Joe is our hand-picked person to get the nomination. We don't want anybody rocking the boat. So now you have Kennedy running as an independent, which of course will siphon a lot of votes away from Biden. As much as the media tries to say it's going to siphon a lot of votes from Trump, that ain't happening. Okay, might siphon some votes from the never-Trumpers, but the never-Trumpers were not going to vote for Trump anyway. And so they figure, okay, if they don't vote for Trump, they'll vote for Biden. Well, the problem is, they're like, well, you know what? We don't want to vote for Biden. We'll vote for Kennedy. So now what the DNC has done is they have sued the Kennedy campaign for taking money from super PACs to help get him on ballots. Okay, so he can actually run as an independent. Because the Democrats are doing whatever they can to eliminate all the competition. Okay? I mean, if we can keep Kennedy off the ballot, because, hey, he's got legal problems, because we're suing him for trying to get on the ballot, gee, that's a problem. We all know all the stories about indicting Trump over everything and anything they can make up, because there's no facts to any of it. So they're trying to keep everybody off the ballot. Why? Well, real simple. If there is no viable competition that is allowed to vote because of the DNC, then Kamala Harris is instilled once Joe Biden says, I'm done, guys, can't do this anymore. And then you have a ballot this fall of your choices are Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris. That's it. This is what they're trying to do. Nikki Haley can say all she wants that she's the alternative if Trump votes out. Nikki Haley lost 2-1 against none of the above. Okay, she's not a viable candidate. She will never be a viable candidate. Anybody who's talking about 2028 has pipe dreams in their head too. Nikki Haley's political career is done in probably a month. All right, she'll never be heard from again. But the GOP is doing everything they can to play right into the hands of the Democrats. If they try to force Biden out, they make it real easy for Gavin Newsom to come up as the victim, for Kamala Harris to celebrate and say, look at me, I'm the first female president. And Gavin Newsom comes in and says, I'm the younger version of the uber leftist Joe Biden. And you got it. Why is the GOP trying to force the hand of the easiest candidate to beat? Joe can't win. Right now, if you look at the battleground states, Trump is leading in every single one of them, including Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania. He's leading in every single state. This election is a layup for Trump. Why are they trying to rock the boat? Why try to push Biden out? If the Democrats want to push him out, let them pick up the pieces. Let them explain to all the people who went to the polls to vote for Joe Biden why Joe Biden's not on the ballot. They didn't go to vote for Kamala Harris. They didn't go vote for Gavin Newsom. They went to vote for Biden. Unless they're, like a lot of Democrats are, bobbleheads. Whoever's got a D next to their name, they'll just automatically vote for him. This is why they don't want to have more than Joe on the ballot. Because, oh my God, there's 2 people with D's on their name. We don't want to confuse our electorate. They actually may have to make a decision, and our supporters aren't smart enough to make a decision. They might choose the wrong person. So we need to make them have one choice and make it very easy for them. Does it sound familiar at all? It's kind of how things work in dictatorships. It's kind of how things work in Russia. Vladimir Putin's on the ballot. Nobody else is allowed. It's kind of how it works in Ukraine. Volodymyr Zelensky's on the ballot. Nobody else is allowed. Take the examples. What do totalitarian governments do? They arrest or kill the opposition. Why is the GOP helping? Let Joe fail on his own and let the people speak. That's what's coming. We're being played. They're making it sound like, oh, it's a great thing. Either Joe gets removed or Joe gets prosecuted. Gee, if the decision is put up to Joe Biden, hey, Joe, here's your choice. You can either step down or we're going to take you to court. You might go to jail. Which one would you choose? You'd step down. And therefore, the sinister plans of the DNC were just made real easy by the opposition. They don't have to pay the piper. They don't have to explain to the people. They just have to go, the Republicans did it, blame them, and waltz their way on to 4 more years of destroying your life. Pinball out.